Have you ever wondered what Socrates, one of the most influential philosophers in history, thought about poetry? Well, if you have, you're in for a treat. Socrates, as depicted in Plato's dialogues, had a fascinating and somewhat controversial perspective on poetry and its role in society. First off, Socrates was critical of poetry because, in his view, it was imitative. He believed that poetry often represents an imitation of the physical world rather than the true forms, or essences. According to Socrates, this can lead to a distorted view of reality. He saw poetry as twice removed from the truth, a mere reflection of a reflection. But Socrates didn't just stop at criticizing the imitative nature of poetry. He also raised moral and ethical concerns. He argued that poets often depict immoral or undesirable behavior in their works, which could potentially influence the audience in negative ways. Socrates felt that poetry should promote virtue, encouraging the moral improvement of citizens. The power of poetry, he believed, should be harnessed for good, not used to propagate bad habits or unethical actions. Socrates acknowledged that poetry is often the result of inspiration, but he wasn't a fan of uncontrolled, irrational inspiration. He argued that poets should be under the influence of reason and should adhere to ethical guidelines in their creative process. Unbridled inspiration, he cautioned, might lead to the expression of harmful or false ideas. So for Socrates, a poet's muse should always be guided by reason. Lastly, Socrates proposed a somewhat radical idea: the censorship of harmful content. He suggested that in an ideal state, there should be a system of censorship for literature and art. This system would be overseen by guardians or rulers who would carefully select and approve the content of poetry. The approved works would be those that align with the moral and ethical values of the society they are trying to create. Now remember, these views are expressed through the character of Socrates in Plato's dialogues. Scholars debate whether these views reflect the historical Socrates himself or Plato's own philosophy. And these ideas were part of a broader discussion on the role of art and literature in shaping the character of individuals and society, a discussion that took place within the context of Plato's Republic. So there you have it, Socrates' views on poetry, its imitative nature, its moral and ethical implications, the role of inspiration, and the need for censorship. A unique perspective indeed, and one that continues to spark debate to this day.